This week, I got in trouble for writing about Sydney Sweeney's boobs. In a shocking development, a blonde giggling with big jazungas. Gazungas. Find out what the word jazungas means in the unedited version. I got in trouble for writing about Sydney Sweeney's boobs because it felt very much like a throwback to another time. That time being the 90s when I grew up, and there was Pamela Lee Anderson, Jenny McCarthy. It was kind of everywhere, the big-breasted blonde. And I was talking about how it's been pushed out of the mainstream, this discussion of even really being allowed to like boobs, and unless they're on a man. And I mean, there was a tweet from Spectator UK was promoting the article, and somebody said, what the fuck is happening? Because they pulled this tweet that was saying, you know, if you were 25, you haven't seen a giggling, big boobed. It's a misrepresentation of the entire article, but everybody was arguing about this one line, and this one tweet had 1.5 million views, probably way more than that now. And the original Spectator tweet had like 5 million views as of yesterday, so I'm sure it's a lot more. And apparently a lot of people were dunking on me, saying that boobs didn't go out of fashion, and that the lad mag places like Playboy and Maxim were killed by the internet. They weren't killed by wokeness, which was not what I was saying. I was just saying that a lot of this stuff has been pushed out of the discussion in the mainstream. Maybe it's on Instagram. Sure, it's on OnlyFans. Yes, I do think the death of the lad mag was absolutely brought on by the internet. But also, I was there, folks. I was working at Playboy as it was on its deathbed. I was one of the last Playboy advisors in one of the last magazines. I was in all of these male magazines writing freelancing for them while they were all dying. And let me tell you, it wasn't just the internet. It was also that they got taken over by gay dudes and feminists. All the editorial staff, the whole staff. I got in trouble constantly. I got in trouble for writing a piece. I had men mansplain feminism to me and stepped on all kinds of invisible lines, got my editor in trouble. All the women were outraged that I would dare to even come up with what I thought was a very funny tongue-in-cheek title. They made me change it. It is no longer even available online. I texted my editor-in-chief, who is a friend of mine at Mel Magazine. Granted, I was being a little snarky, so fair enough that he never responded to me again. But they had a piece come out, and it was how men can support women in abortions, and the editor's note was not only women have abortions. And I jokingly, and very much in my tone of love, said the next Mel Magazine piece should be someone from Mel driving around America and asking regular Americans what they think of this editor's note. And this was back in like probably 2018, 2019, before it was even really mainstreamed, all this stuff. And then I said, y'all have drunk the Kool-Aid, but I love you. And I never heard from them again, ever. And they're out of business now too. And I was always getting crap when I was writing at Playboy from women and from men, but from women for internalizing the patriarchy. So what pisses me off about this is that everyone who is saying, oh, this didn't really happen, what is she talking about? Do not act like there hasn't been some pushback and like the discussion of heterosexual males hasn't been mostly that they're toxic for like the past decade, because that's all anyone's heard. I remember you all in your pussy hats. I'm not going to forget all the marching and there were witch hunts that were going on. It was an insane time, and everybody's acting like I'm the crazy one for observing that you couldn't just enjoy a blonde's boobs, you know, in the mainstream like Saturday Night Live. Not saying that it disappeared, but it certainly has not been represented in the mainstream, on the runways, in all of these places. Sports Illustrated, another RIP, by the way. All of these places have catered to the not normal male brain, and now they're out of business, and everyone's acting like I'm the crazy one for pointing this out. I'm not. It happened, And I'm not one of those like go woke or go broke, but there is something about the idea that if you stop catering to the very male audience that you are supposed to be catering to and start catering to, I don't even freaking know who you're trying to impress, feminists. Why? They're impossible to please. Yeah, you're going to end up losing readership. And there are magazines that still exist, by the way. They didn't all go out of business. It was nuts. And then the manosphere is completely dysfunctional. The Western Al-Qaeda, they have some problems internally with their messaging. I don't know what they really expect from women, because they'll 1 week will be like Taylor Swift is a psyop, beer is bad. I thought these things, I'm sorry, I thought this was America. And then again, I'm sorry, I thought this was America. There was this video of these just like average sorority girls going line dancing, and some guy, a passport bro was like, why do we hate Western women, or why don't Western men date Western women? And it was like just some dumb college girls having fun and dancing.
Oh God, they're dancing.
And people were getting all up in arms about this, acting like it was the return of Satanism and degeneracy and whatever else weirdness is going. It's the right that I remember from the 90s. All of this stuff is coming back. What I'm saying is the 90s are coming back with a vengeance. Hopefully we'll return to some semblance of the cool that the 90s era brought upon all of us, and the good music. But I do see a return to like the evangelical right that I remember, the morally righteous. Thou shalt not dance in lines in gas stations. Why didn't anyone point out the cultural appropriation of their Native American pants? These women were actually protesting the genocide in Palestine. Let's cut to the manosphere and see their response. Apparently, girls having fun makes certain men incredibly furious. And then some men were getting mad about Sydney Sweeney's boobs too. But also then on the right, they were like, wokeness is defeated, which is also insane. You can't be like, we hate all women with big boobs, and then you show a woman with cleavage, and now suddenly she's like, you're trying to code her as yours because wokeness? Nothing makes sense.
We here at PHETASY have always been a fan of boobs.
We here have always been a fan of boobs.